Welcome back to the Impact Lounge. You are in the number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. This is the Cool Factor Podcast. I'm your host, TW. And of course, we got the man with the plan, BQ. Say what's up to the people.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is our first Cool Factor podcast in a little while. And this is the part of the show where I start talking about our schedules and how we just can't link up and how impossible it is. And it's like a real broken record, you know. And what I had said previously was that when TW wasn't available, I was gonna, knock out a solo review on it on Saturdays or whatever, except my military weekends. Because just to clue you guys in, I actually don't watch the episode at all on that week, just because I can't get around to it because I work 12 days in a row. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best to knock out some of these solo reviews, like when TW's not available. But don't be surprised if this podcast starts getting kind of bi-weekly. You know what I mean? We are trying to figure this out. We've been trying to figure this out for months. How can we really link up and be consistent? But it's a real struggle.
And just like BQ said, we love doing the pod. We love interacting with you guys. We love bringing you the content. But like sometimes our schedules just don't line up. You know what I mean? Sometimes our schedules don't line up. I work in television, and football season is like bananas for me. So I'm just less available during certain months. So it is what it is. Life happens. Okay. but still, like, please drop your comments, underneath. We're going to review the comments. We're still going to interact on the Impact Lounge Facebook page. We're going to, tweet me, I tweet back, tweet BQ, we tweet back. And yeah, man. But before we get started, please just take a second and hit that subscribe button so you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button so everybody knows you like this video, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified each and every time we drop some brand new fire content on this page. We are recording this on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. And BQ, are you excited for Turkey Day coming up?
I used to be more excited when all I had to do was eat, but now over the past like 3 years, I'm responsible for the entire meal. So it's not as exciting, but
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Well, while I'm down here podcasting, I can hear my wife upstairs getting the house ready. So we better, get this pod done so I can get back to work.
I gotcha.
We're hosting Thanksgiving this year. So we got family coming from out of town. A lot of my family lives closer. A lot of her family lives farther away. And but it's good. It's fun to host. It's great to be able to host, and it's good to get family together and, Thanksgiving. So in the spirit of Thanksgiving, but we're about to get into an Overdrive review, but in the spirit of Thanksgiving, BQ, I'm going to say something and you're going to say something. Let's give one thing as a wrestling fan that we're thankful for. So I'm just springing this on you. We didn't talk about this ahead of time. I'll go first. All right.
Okay.
So as a wrestling fan, one thing I am thankful for is I'm thankful for all the variety of wrestling that's out there. There's, WWE is obviously, it's the top dog, you know what I mean? Like, whether you like their product the most or not, like, they got the, the best production, probably the best roster, the most history, so I'm grateful that there's WWE, and then AEW serves a purpose, Impact serves a purpose, Wow Women of Wrestling serves a purpose, everything. So right now there's a lot of wrestling available to be watched, and as a wrestling fan, I am grateful that there is a ton of wrestling to be watched. So as a wrestling fan right now, your cup runneth over. So that's what I'm grateful for as a wrestling fan right now.
I'm grateful that wrestling just hasn't gone anywhere. Like when I was growing up and I was young, once they start getting into the mainstream, a lot of people are like, this isn't going to last. Like, this is, a fad. This is just because it was just WWE. Yeah, there was the territories and, there were some of these other companies, but from a mainstream standpoint, there was just one company. And, a lot of people were like, this is going to go away. Kind of like hip hop, like after a few years, like, okay, this is gonna phase out.
Right, right.
And it just still here, and it just continues to evolve every year, and we just see such, you know. So
Yeah.
that's what's really exciting about it, But that's what I'm,
Hell
grateful
yeah,
for.
hell yeah, hell yeah.
Definitely
That's dope.
that it's
And
a thing. It's a part
maybe
of my life.
maybe later in the show we'll read some of your comments if you guys want to drop your wrestling thankfulness in the chat. You know what I mean? If you want to say drop some things that you're thankful for as a wrestling fan, maybe we can get to that a little bit later. But we're gonna dive into a Impact Overdrive review. So leading up to Overdrive, it's been a couple of weeks since we gotten a pod done. How are you feeling overall about, where the stories are with Impact, where the stars are with Impact leading up into Overdrive? Like how are you feeling about the product overall right now leading into this show?
I'm on one of my down swings right now. Like, it's always a roller coaster with me, especially after a big pay-per-view comes out. I tend to get, usually after Bound for Glory, after Slammiversary, I tend to get like really excited because they kind of, it's almost like a, they freshen things up. It's almost like a bit of a restart. But it is a roller coaster. So like I have my highs and then I have my lows where I'm just like extremely bored with what's going on. I'm not, so like for me, it's not that the product is bad right now. I don't think it is. I'm just, the thing I've been talking about the last several months, it's like becoming just a wrestling show, just two people wrestling, and
Yeah.
like storyline wise, it's just not grabbing me, and it hasn't for several months now. The Bully Ray stuff, I started coming around on it after a couple of weeks, and now I'm interested in it. But at the same time, like Impact has a crutch, and the crutch is when you need some drama in a storyline, like bring the wife in. It's
Yeah.
like how many times insert Alicia Edwards, insert
Right.
Melissa Santos, uh, Taya Valkyrie at one point
Yeah.
briefly, and now it's what's his name? Wife's name Jade.
Yep.
Um, this is the second time they've had to use her.
Yep.
So it's a crutch, but it works.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, here we go again with the wife thing, but it works. But
Yeah.
right now it's kind of like a one storyline show, and
Yeah.
I've been saying like they're doing too much with Josh too quickly. Like, why is he feuding with Frankie, and then you got feuding with Bubba, and then you got Macklin there, and you got Bobby Fish just coming in, and I was like, they're doing too much. But I guess I'm seeing now how it's all like coming together a little bit. It's not as messy as I thought it was.
Yeah.
I see how it's coming together, but right now it's like they're kind of putting all their eggs in that like basket of the main event,
Yeah.
and then it's just a bunch of wrestling that I don't care who wins, So
yeah, I think I would kind of agree with that. I think that I think if you look into it, there are some good stories going on. I think that like the Mickey James last rodeo story is a good one. When it comes to Trey Miguel, oh sorry, we'll go back to this, but there is some fun stuff going on with different stuff in the show. I think overall right now we're in the Josh Alexander era. And because he's such a good, phenomenal wrestler, and he really can put on a program with anybody, like he's a guy who he can be your traditional babyface and kind of make a program out of nothing because he's an underrated good promo. He's a really good promo, and he can wrestle, just ridiculous bangers. So like, he's a top guy for sure, 100%. But I still think from a production standpoint, they need to do more to make the stories feel spicy. Like we'll get to what happened at the end of the show, but as this angle was going on, I'm sitting there watching it and I'm thinking to myself, man, like this crowd should be losing their mind right now. And I'm just like, oh man. So that is one thing about Impact that just kind of needles me a little bit. Is like I just want to see the product feel a little more alive. And I can't remember if it was you I was talking to or somebody else who mentioned it the other day. But someone said that they think that maybe with the product minus Don Callis, maybe the thing he was bringing to the table was the edgier stories, the edgier characters. And I thought about that and I was like, man, that actually makes sense
That
because
was in the
we got a
Facebook group
ton
we were
of
talking. Yeah.
we got a ton of great wrestling, right? A ton of great wrestling, and you know, the matches and feuds put together are nice. They flow good. But remember when they were doing stuff just to catch your eye, like when, you know, Ace Austin was like trying to do people's moms, and you know what I mean? Like they were just doing like different little fun stuff. And I think about that, like as a TV show, right? You should, like, people used to always say, you know, they weren't a wrestling fan back in the day, but they were flipping channels and they saw DX or they saw Stone Cold and it caught their eye. They saw the NWO or they saw the cruiserweights and it just caught their eye. And I think that's the thing Impact needs. They need characters that resonate, that will catch anybody's eye, right? And be like, you know what? I'm not even interested in Impact or wrestling or whatever, but I want to see what this person's going to do. You know what I mean? Like they need more stuff that jumps off the screen like that. And I think that'll make the product just feel a little more lively. But like, you know, you can't deny that, like, you know, it's the booking is solid, the stories are solid, the wrestling is solid. They just need that thing that's gonna pop, that's gonna get people like on their feet, chanting and emotional, and all of those moments that we love so much as wrestling fans. All right.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, and we'll get into this, but that's why I talk about things like, you know, I've said this before on podcasts, but it stood out to me at Overdrive that, you know, Penzer announces every wrestler exactly the same. If they're a jobber, if they're a champion, if it's the main event, if it's a heel, it's a babyface, they're all announced the exact same way. And it's like everyone's entrance is almost the same. I mean, it's not almost the same. I don't know how to explain it. Like, not too many of the entrances stand out. And I say that because I guess maybe I was watching AEW or Women of Wrestling or something, but I just noticed like a lot of the entrances it's a part of the wrestler's brand, and the way they're announced is part of the brand. You know, like he has a Spanish god, Sammy Guevara. You know, like
right.
now you think, okay, Spanish god, and then merch starts coming out, and like it's all part of the brand of a wrestler. To do those little things, they you know, their entrances stand out. The way you announce them when they come out stands out. But it's like I don't know, that everything feels so just the same, and I can't like totally pinpoint it. But yeah, we were talking about in the Facebook group that when Don Callis was around, even though I think Scott has been more beneficial overall when you're talking about the two of them. But when Don was around, I think he had an eye for bringing in some talent that really broke up like the monotony of the show. And right now, it just feels like whoever they bring in, the show feels exactly the fucking same. Like there's just nothing like popping out.
Yeah.
And I can't totally like pinpoint why that is, but but that's just how I feel. Nothing standing out.
Yeah.
You know, to as you said, someone flipping through like, yo, this, you know, this catches my eye.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into, without further ado, let's get into the review of Impact's most recent event, Overdrive. All right, so if anybody who wants to follow along, I'm going to write down the results listed on impactwrestling.com, and we're just going to read through the results, and then me and BQ will react to exactly what happened. It looks like BQ has some vomit on his shirt right there. I can't really.
So he's asking what is it? Says Los Angeles. It's the LA Clippers alternate jersey, the city edition jersey.
I'm a Lakers fan, so the Clipper hate will reign forever. Ever. Even though the Lakers are straight up doodle butter. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that. We're here to talk about Impact Wrestling. Let's see here. So we started with let's see the countdown to Overdrive. Rich Swann and all these guys. Rich Swann defeated all these guys in a 6-way X Division match, full of action. Rich Swann gets the W. Rich Swann should be getting plenty of W's. Let's see. Then they also had the
I gotta say about this real quick. I was listening to I don't know what podcast I was listening to the other day, but they were talking like the biggest challenge that a company, not the biggest challenge, but one of the biggest challenges. This is someone in the industry saying this, that a company can face is when the title comes off someone, how do you make them remain relevant? You know,
Right.
so it's not an easy thing to do. Like we've
Yeah, I
seen it
don't know,
with,
man. See, I don't know about that. Like, look, here's an
you
example of
know where
this,
I'm
right?
going with it. Rich Swan's on the pre-show,
Right.
but
But like, look at look at John Moxley in AEW, right? Like, you know, you really wouldn't even know that he's not the champion because he never loses. You know what I mean? He's got a big time interest. They put him in big time spots. You know, like you can keep somebody hot with or without the belt, man. You know,
right,
I always say this. Like one of the things I learned from watching John Cena throughout his run, and now that you know we're way past it, you know, we can talk about it. You know, like honestly, like it was a phenomenal run. Like, regardless of what you thought about the product, like John Cena's run was an all-timer. You know what I mean? And the thing I learned from watching John Cena during that time is that you don't have to have the belt to be the main attraction. You know what I mean? Like, there was times when CM Punk was the champion, John Cena was still the main event. You know what I mean? This guy would be the champion, that guy would be the champion, but it was still all about Cena. And like, again, that goes to the booking, but that also goes to the quality of the star. You know what I mean? So you can still make a guy feel like a big star without him having the title. You know what I mean? So like the Impact does this thing where once somebody doesn't have the title, they just start like rotating them into losing. And I'm just like,
right.
that's a booking thing. You know what I mean? That's not like that's not like this guy lost his steam. It's just, you're booking him to lose now. Why would you do this?
Yeah, and like the comment here, Rich Swann isn't that interesting of a gimmick. When Rich Swann lost the belt, I was saying back then, what I would do is keep him off TV for several months, almost like he's depressed because he let the company down,
Mm,
and and you can like kind of reboot him. But instead, he was off TV, but then he just came back dancing, and then he lost like
yeah.
to Morrissey immediately, and it was like,
Yeah.
but now
Yeah,
here he
I
is
thought
at
that
the
when after Rich Swann lost the belt to Kenny Omega, and then he had the feud with Morrissey, I thought Swann should have went over Morrissey. And the reason why is it doesn't hurt the heel to lose, especially not the big monster heel, especially not to somebody who just finished being the world champion. And the thing is, like, you got Rich Swann, and he's a guy who you're probably going to have for a while, right? Like, he's not going anywhere else. Like, why not have him keep winning? So he's established as a top guy, and anytime he comes out, fans should be excited and get behind him. But they didn't do that. Like, to me, I was like, you have Rich Swann. He just had the title. He's a made guy, but they didn't choose to keep him at that level, and I think that was just a huge mistake. Because
yeah,
Impact,
absolutely.
Impact doesn't have but so many stars. Do they have, other than Josh Alexander at this time, like, who are the guys that really like are like the showstopper stars? Like, there's not one. There's not one. Moose has still been kept at a pretty high level, but like, there's not a lot of guys that it's just like, I have to see what this guy is doing.
Right. I
So
think like if you think of a sports franchise, ideally what a team wants to do is like they have their rotation players and then they're drafting younger players that they're going to develop to eventually take over these guys' spots. And that's where like it's not happening. It's they're bringing in some younger dudes, but then it's like, the Rohits, the Jakes, the contract runs out and they don't want to, like a rookie, if they in the league they outperform their contract, that next contract is substantially bigger, you know, and it just like they're not getting to that level. They bring in these guys, they're outperforming their deal, and then it's like, okay, we just want to keep you at that same deal. They don't want that deal, and then they leave, and then just have to keep replacing people at the bottom, but they're not elevating up to the top. Like Ace Austin should have been in this main event scene by now. Chris Bay should have been in this main event scene by now. Like there's a couple dudes. Trey Miguel should have long time ago been a fixture in the main event scene. Now he's going to do the heel thing. So I think that's interesting.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're about to talk about. So,
all right. So then there was also a match on the pre-show, the Motor City Machine Guns versus Ace Austin and Chris Bay in a World Tag Team Title #1 Contenders match. Of course, you know this was an action-filled match. The Guns hit a Magic Killer, but Bay kicked out at 2. Bay hit Shelly with Bay since Shelly crashed into his own partner. Austin follows up with a springboard kick. Bay soars over the top rope, colliding with both the Guns on the floor. Sabin counters the Art of Finesse into a German suplex. Sabin stacks up Bay to score the victory. So, Motor City Machine Guns are the new #1 contenders for the World Tag Team titles. What was your thoughts on this right here?
I mean, I saw it coming. They've been laying that groundwork for a little while that the Machine Guns were gonna eventually challenge for the belts. So I just can't believe they haven't been the champions over the past like 3 years that they've been here. It's crazy,
right?
That they haven't at all. And it just seems like, you know, the mainstays who they know are going to stay around, like they just don't put belts on them.
Yeah,
it's the people who are like coming in for a few months, like, hey, you know, here's a championship. So hopefully they do put the belts on them, because Heath and Rhino, like we'll get to that match, but I was actually really disappointed that they won. So
yeah.
But yeah, this was, you know, obvious. I feel like we've seen these teams fight 1,000 times, though. Maybe they haven't, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I had a hard time getting into it. I got to ask you this with these monthly specials. Do you think that I don't want them to put a card together that no one cares about? Don't get me wrong, but I think like you don't have to defend every single freaking title on these cards. You know, it's I think they can main event with the X Division, or they can main event with a #1 contenders match. Like they're throwing everything on these things. They don't even promote how to be an Impact insider on the damn show. But then these actual shows, they're just putting a pay-per-view like quality show together.
It is so weird that they don't promote how to be. You know why? Because they're still torn between their Impact Insider and the Impact Plus app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want to, like, when they first started doing the Impact Insider, you were like, well, it looks like they've punted on the Impact Plus app. Well, then they apparently got the green light to have access to their Spike TV years of the Impact Wrestling show, and the only place for that to live is on the Impact Plus app. So they couldn't just abandon the Impact Plus app. So they had to, you know. So, like, I mean, but, and also I think for some reason, maybe they don't want to offend their TV partners by promoting that you can watch the show on YouTube. But to me, that's stupid, man. Like, to hell with that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think, like, again, you know, say what you want to about Vince McMahon, right? But he had the cojones to cannibalize his own pay-per-view business for the good of the Impact Plus app. You know, I'm sorry, of the WWE app. You know what I mean? Like the you know, like, and listen, I wasn't gonna be shelling out $65 a month for a WWE pay-per-view. I was gonna do that maybe twice a year for the Royal Rumble and for WrestleMania. But I was not gonna be, you know, paying month after month after month. But there's a lot of people who were. There's a lot of people who were. And he sacrificed that in order to give everybody, you know, for the $10 a month, get everybody over to the WWE app, right? And like, so if you're Impact, right, like at some point, you got to say that it's worth the money you're going to get from the subscribers, whatever you're sacrificing. You know what I mean? Because if you're getting more subscribers to your YouTube thing, then that's going to give you the visibility and the reach to go out and market yourself for a bigger TV deal. No?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So to me, like, they should be promoting the Impact, you know, the Impact Plus app and the Impact Insider. Like, they should be promoting those things so hard. And you're right. We never see promotion for those things. But we're not going to, you know, get into this because the Impact's, you know, promotional flaws is a rabbit hole we have been down many times. So we're gonna hop over that rabbit hole today. Where are we going? Oh, you asked me what do I think about the monthly shows. I like them, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I like them is because when they're live, it sounds better, it looks better, and you can hear the crowd more. You know what I'm saying? And I think the talent is more active because it's a live show.
This
You
wasn't
know,
live.
at any given point, if you were to ask me for a recommendation of things to make Impact better on a weekly basis, one of the number one things I'd say is they need to go live more. You know what I mean? They need to go live more because the show feels like a more lively product when they are live. So yeah, I think going live as much as possible is a good thing for Impact. Do they have to put everything on the show, every title? Maybe not, but it should be some match with stakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. But I
So
just feel like you can build a show around the X Division Championship headlining it, and
I agree.
like it gives you it lets it breathe. So Josh is not wrestling every single person on the company. But this wasn't a live show. This was uh, done a couple days prior.
Oh, was it? I thought
Um,
it was live.
no, I always assumed they were, but I know someone messaged me and said he was at the show while I was watching it. So
Huh.
um,
Mm.
I thought this particular show sounded like, and maybe it's because I have a trained ear, sounded like shit. Like
Yeah.
you're supposed to, your file should be an MP4,
Mm.
and they are not exporting to MP4. And when it's not, I don't know how to explain the sound. It's almost like you can hear a very low, like if you had just crushed up metal and you were just like rubbing it together, like it has that sound to it. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so hard to explain. But
I think the
they're
phrase you're
not
looking
being
for is dog poop.
yeah, they're not being exported high quality files. They're low quality to save space, and it's you can't always tell watching, but listening, it was
Yeah,
real bad. It sounded really bad.
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm pro more live shows, and just because I think the product comes off better when they go live. But yeah, but that doesn't mean you still got to give us a good show. All right, so Overdrive on the air. The first match is Moose versus Bully Ray in a tables match. The first person to put their opponent through the table will be declared the winner in this personal showdown. Bully turns his back and Moose immediately delivers a low blow. Moose connects with a spear moments into the match. Moose takes some time to set up a table in the corner, allowing Bully to hit the spear of his own. Bully hits a vertical suplex on the floor. Bully returns the favor from an earlier and goes low. Moose hits him in the back with a steel chair, but Bully counters the follow-up with a Uranage into a German suplex. Moose shuts down the momentum with a pump kick. Bully is perched on the top and sends Moose crashing to the mat with a thunderous power bomb. Moose counters the Bully bomb, but Bully catches him midair with a cutter instead. Bully charges into the corner, but Moose sidesteps, causing him to put himself through a table. The match doesn't end, however, because it was not Moose who drove him through a table. Bully spears Moose through a table in the corner to win. So Moose defeats Bully Ray in the tables match. What did you think about this?
It was okay. Usually I kick these reviews off saying, um, these monthly specials really deliver. They're always really good. This one really didn't do it for me. I thought the last three matches really saved it. The matches previous to it, I didn't even care who won. Like I was just wasn't invested in it. And this was one I wasn't like particularly invested in because I don't like tables matches. It's hard to make them good because it's like they're laid out very similar. If you really want to put someone through a table, you can put them through a table. Like just pick them up and slam them through the table. You slam them to the mat. It's the same thing. So I just I'm not a huge fan of them. But I would say this probably exceeded my expectations of what I thought it was going to be. I thought they had a couple really cool moments here. So I understand now that they needed Moose to have this little mini feud with him to take you off the scent of what he was going to do with Josh. Like I totally get it, but it's just weird. They were like, Moose is another guy. It's like they don't know what to do with him. Like he just gets these little like meaningless feuds. You know, I, I I wish he was the champion forever. Like,
Mm,
I wish this motherfucker just had the belt and just didn't lose it. Like, I love his title reign, and it's like he dropped it, and it's like, what the hell are they doing with him now? Like, what's next for him? So I don't know, but
yeah,
this was okay. It exceeded my expectations, but I don't really like tables matches.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think they definitely could have done something where they had Moose and Josh going back and forth for the title for a long time. I don't think there's anything wrong with that to have those guys, repeatedly feuding. I mean, listen, Stone Cold and The Rock headline 3 straight WrestleManias against each other. Like
Did they really?
they did. They did. So like
Oh wow.
it's not, if you got a good thing, milk it, make it work. All right. So let's see. Up next, we had the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, the Death Dolls, Taya Valkyrie and Jessica, with Rosemary versus Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans for the Knockouts World Tag Team Championship. I'm gonna skip a lot of this description here. We kind of know what happened here.
It didn't
Jessica
need to
hit a
be on the
double
show.
running crossbody to both of her opponents. Jessica counters the cutter from Steelz into an assisted sick driver for 3. The Death Dolls defeat Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. Did you have any thoughts on this one?
There was a cutter in every single. We're now like 4 or 5 matches through this. There was a cutter in every single match, dude. As you've read these, you're just like, cutter. This is such a fucking go. I hate that move, man. I
What it
freaking
used to
hate
be a
it.
few years ago? It used to be the double
The super
stomp.
kick.
Everybody was
Oh
doing the
yeah, the
double
double
stomp.
stomp.
Oh,
Yeah,
sometimes moves get overdone. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Swan won with a cutter. I'm sure there was a cutter. I know I'm pretty sure Chris Bay hit a cutter or some shit like that. And then I forgot who you said did it here. And then the match dude, it's such a go-to move, man. I hate it.
Yeah.
Um, this match didn't need to be on this. Like I thought that there's not enough tag teams for. Again, you don't have to put every title on the line at every single show. Like this, who the hell are they going to fight next? I mean, I'm sure they have an idea who they're going to bring in to fight the Death Dolls. But I just feel like you're defending these titles like way too much, and then you get rid of your opponent, and then who's next? Like that's a division they could actually probably drag out the stories a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, but I do like the Death Dolls entrance and theme song and all that. Like as I've said, I'm not a huge fan of like comedy Rosemary, but
Yeah.
I kind of like what they're doing overall. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it was okay. I didn't think it needed to be on the show.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got Mickie James versus Taylor Wilde. And obviously, with the last rodeo, if Mickie loses, her career is over. Let's see. Mickie James, the last rodeo continues as she battles Taylor Wilde in a first time ever dream match. A dream match, a main event anywhere in the world. Remember that was Josh's thing for a long time.
Turkey Suit Challenge, main event anywhere.
So both knockouts jockey for position in the opening minutes of the match. James gains the true advantage with a leg scissors out of the corner, followed by a Hurricane Rana. James sends her rolling through the ropes to the floor. Fight spills into the outside, where Wilde drives her into the side of the apron. Wilde hits a snap vertical suplex for 2. James whips her into the corner, but Wilde sidesteps and regains control with a backbreaker. James and Wilde exchange strikes as Wilde gains the upper hand with a target shot to the lower back. James builds momentum with a neck breaker, but Wilde avoids the Mick DT. Wilde hits the Wild Run for what the fuck is the Wild Run?
Wild Ride
For a very close near fall. Wilde immediately locks in the camel clutch. I was going to make a joke there, but James escapes. James hits the Mick DT to win. Mickie James defeats Taylor Wilde, and her last rodeo continues. What'd you think about this match here?
This is a decent storyline overall. Because if anything, we're just getting good Mickie James matches.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, it's gonna end with something having to do with the Knockouts Championship. I wish that they would have just left that part out of it and just let her wrestle. And then if she got to that point, cool. But whatever. I know it sounds like a big super negative today. I didn't think this match was very good.
Yeah,
I was really, really looking forward to it. I don't know that there's any two women on the planet that have such similar builds in stature than these two women. Like they look exactly like each other. They're the same height. I mean, the same body type, the same implants, like everything, you know? Like they look I was like they're so evenly matched physically that this is going to be really really good. And I watched this match twice. There is not a smooth 30 seconds in a row in this match.
Oh wow.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
Um this was just I thought someone said in the comments when we first started the show, like on that show, that match was awesome. Like I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say you guys aren't allowed to enjoy it. I didn't think it was very good. I was really, really disappointed because I thought it was gonna be really killer. Like I said, they're built exactly the same. Like there's just
Mhm.
no I just thought it was just gonna flow. So at one point they did like that double drop kick spot. You know, when oh they're thinking the same thing.
Right,
They
right,
were
right,
nowhere near each other. I mean, it was damn near like post to post. Like
right. Like they
they,
both would have missed the drop kick badly if the other one was standing there.
if the other one was standing there, they would have dropped been like 5 feet short.
Right.
Um, but I just very disappointed with this one. Obviously, I
So
can't
after the
wrestle, so I'm not be like, oh, you know, I'm not going to go out there and show them how it's done by any
right,
stretch.
right,
But
right.
I didn't think it was good.
Yeah. So after the match, Mickey is confronted by her longtime rival, Deonna Purrazzo, who calls her a selfish B word. Purrazzo says she's not only looking to end James's career, she's looking to end it.
I thought this was good though. She just came out, you selfish bitch. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh man.
that was good.
No, I just that was a funny typo right here. It says she's not only looking to end James's career, she's looking to end it. Did you see that clip of Herschel Walker where he says this erection is about the people?
No. Oh God.
Yo, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Like he's sitting there talking. I think he's sitting between Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham. And they're talking about something. He's like, yeah, this election is gonna be won, blah 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 blah. And he's like, this election is about the people. And Lindsey Graham caught it right away because he looks at him and goes, and he plays it right off. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. It's funny.
Oh man. But yes, I'm here for more Deonna and Mickey. I'm curious where where this is gonna go because again the last rodeo. I can't definitively say how I think this is gonna end. You know what I
I
mean?
can't either. Yeah.
Is this gonna is gonna be one more run with the title for Mickey, or is Deonna gonna end it, or is she gonna make it all the way to Jordan and Jordan's gonna end it? You know what I mean? Like, as an honorable wrestler, you want to go out on your shield, you do the honors and you leave town unless you're Bret Hart. And you you do what you got to do. So so I'm interested to see how this ends. It's a great storyline, and as many more promos as we can get with Mickey James with a sport coat just taped to her body.
Yeah.
I am here for all of that.
I mean, if
Thank
I had
God.
to bet money, I think it's going to be a very like cookie cutter story when it's all said and done. If I was a betting man, which I am,
I will say this though.
uh-huh.
When it comes to Mickey and Deonna, they have a rivalry established that's good enough. And I think this is where if you work in production for Impact Wrestling, you should be begging for the opportunity to put together the video packages to promote this Mickey and Deonna story, because this is a cash money storyline. I thought this was one of the best feuds in wrestling last year. People don't want to talk about it because people still like to pretend like they don't watch Impact Wrestling. But like, Mickey James and Deonna Purrazzo had one of the absolute best feuds in all of wrestling last year. It was so good. And yeah, I mean, like to take a break away from it and then circle back to it, like that's just damn good booking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just damn good booking, and where you can hit the ground where it still feels personal and it still feels like now they both got something on the line because Mickey beat Deanna's friend and sent her packing. And Deanna has a chance to send Mickey packing, and Deanna's evil. Boo Deanna Purrazzo. I say this all the time. If you guys follow me on Twitter at Talking About Pod, boo Deanna Purrazzo. She's a disgusting, vile heel, and she deserves to be booed any chance she gets. If anybody wants to circulate this clip, Deanna, boo you. Boo Deanna Purrazzo. Boo. All you nerds out there chanting Virtuosa when she comes out, okay? Y'all are horrible. Y'all are ruining wrestling, okay? Deanna Purrazzo is evil. Boo her. Boo her. All right? Get me off my topic. All right. Moving right along here. We had the Impact World Tag Team Championship as Heath and Rhino take on the major players, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. Let's see. At the end, Heath makes the tag to Rhino, who joins the fray with a burst of speed. Myers hits Rhino with the flatliner for 2. The major players hit a double DDT on Rhino, but Heath breaks the pin at 2. The Guns stop Cardona from introducing the steel chair into the match. Rhino gores Myers to score the victory. So Heath and Rhino defeat the major players to retain their tag team championship. What did you think about this?
Again, I know I'm sounding like negative. I already said it. This is a three match show for me. I just didn't find this real entertaining either. I wanted to see the major players win. Honestly, I just don't understand. Like, they can be one of the most entertaining parts of the show, and it's like both of them were digital media champions, did nothing for the belt, did nothing special with it. Why not put the damn tag team belts on? What is like the benefit of Heath and Rhino being the champions? Other than you promised them they would win the titles like a year ago, but then Rhino got hurt, so you had to, come back around to it in a very unnatural manner. I just want to see major players win. I was really disappointed that they didn't, but I don't know. It was okay. It was okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Now we're getting the stuff that I was really liking here. We got Black Taurus versus Crazy Steve versus Trey Miguel in an X Division tournament final. Okay, X Division title tournament final. And so the tournament to crown a new X Division champion came down to this as Black Taurus and Trey Miguel face off in the finals. It's a stalemate in the early going as both competitors in the match, they match each other's offense move for move. Taurus hits a series of sling blades followed by a backbreaker. Taurus quickly climbs the ropes to deliver a flying headbutt to Miguel. Taurus locks in a modified cloverleaf, but Miguel makes it to the ropes in order to break the hold. Taurus connects on a pop-up Samoan drop for 2. Miguel hits the running double knees in the corner, followed by the running Meteora for a near fall of his own. Both men exchange stiff strikes in the middle of the ring, followed by stereo headbutts. Miguel fights off the destination hellhole. That sounds awful. Then hits an enziguri for another near fall. Taurus hurls him off the top rope, but it's not enough to keep Miguel down. Miguel dives over the top rope and hits a Hurricane Rana on the floor. Back in the ring, Miguel connects with the Meteor for yet another near fall. Taurus sends him back first into the steel ring post. Miguel blinds Taurus with spray paint, then hits the lightning spiral to win. So Trey Miguel turns heel and defeats Black Taurus with Crazy Steve in the X Division tournament finals. Trey Miguel is the new X Division champion. What did you think about this?
Now, this was good. This was really, really good. And I'm super intrigued because I think you had to do something different with Trey because you don't want to put him in the main event scene for whatever reason. So we're going to see if he can pull off the heel thing. But I really enjoy this, and I have to give him props because it wasn't that long ago that we were saying, "Yo, Decay don't beat anybody," and they actually put Taurus on a little bit of a hot streak. Over the last couple months, like he's been winning matches. I thought PJ Black was going to be in the finals here. I really did. Just because why the hell they even bring him in? Um, so this wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but this was really good. Taurus is excellent. The fans really got behind him. They need to get him and Crazy Steve, whatever that looks like. If it's Taurus wrestling by himself and Steve just kind of talking for him, they got to take those guys to the next level. They got to build on what was organic, and organically the crowd really got behind Black Taurus. So that's something that Impact is really, really missing compared to like in AEW, that Tony listens. Okay, the fans want this. We're gonna, you know, like the Jamie Hayter thing, for instance. You know what I mean? Like they pulled they I didn't say pulled the plug. That's the exact opposite. They pulled the trigger on Jamie Hayter because the fan it just organically got there. The fans really, really wanted to see it. And there's been times where the fans are telling Impact, "Hey, we want to see this," and they just completely overlook it. So like especially Jake Something's one that I really point out a lot when it comes to that. Like they were really getting behind him wrestling, and it was just like they just couldn't get him to that next level. So hopefully they do that with Taurus instead of just like feeding him to Trey Miguel just for the simple fact that they needed him to turn heel, and then they're going to completely forget about him. Hopefully they don't do that, but I'm very interested to see this side of Trey Miguel. And this was just a good match. It was a fun match. I'm glad they didn't do the Impact thing and just put the title right back on Mike Bailey. That's what I thought. I really thought that was going to happen. I was like, this tournament is strictly to put the belt back off him because you took it off him for Frankie, and now you got to put it back on him.
Yeah.
But I like the Kenny King thing that Bailey's doing right now. I'm very happy that they got like a storyline going. Boom. So now you're talking
I have
like
a feeling
in the X
that
division. There's a couple
they're
storylines
eventually coming back to Trey Miguel versus Mike Bailey. I feel like they're 100% coming back to both of them, but this time with Trey as the heel. This is like, think of like Roman versus Brock Lesnar, but minus 300 pounds. So like, however many times we can do the match, let's do the match. All right, I'm actually getting a little short on time, so we gotta move along here. We have the Knockouts World Championship match, Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich. Jordynne Grace defeated Masha Slamovich in the last knockout standing match. What did you think about this?
This, again, also really, really good. I was just surprised. It's weird to have Masha had just lose twice in a row. I don't know what the point was of this ultimately. It's weird. I would imagine she's going to move on to something with Killer Kelly, which I think is a mistake at this point, just because neither of them need a loss. Masha definitely doesn't need a loss. Kelly, really doesn't need one either. We don't even see her that much, but Jordan and Moose are the two people on this show that look like freaking stars every time they go out there. Physically, the way they wrestle, the way they carry themselves. So this was really good. I just don't know why it was necessary with Masha, but
Yeah, I thought they got into this
though.
kind of quick. Like when Masha came out at the end of that episode of Impact and attacked Jordan, I was actually looking forward to seeing them get back together because this was one of the matches heading into Bound for Glory that people were more excited about. People were very excited about Masha versus Jordan, as far as like things people were looking forward to at that show. And I thought the match delivered. I thought it did a good job. I thought it shined a better light on Masha Slamovich. So to come right back to the rematch right now, I thought that was kind of a waste. They could have done something else with Masha and leading to her having another rematch with Jordan in in a few months at another show. They got the show coming up in January. They could have built to that in Atlanta. So yeah, that felt like a little bit of a rush to me. I thought they could have stretched a little more out of that. And then, like you said, where do each of them go from here? So that's always interesting. All right, main event time. We had the Impact World Champion Josh Alexander versus Frankie Kazarian. They had a 40-minute match, and Josh Alexander defeated Frankie Kazarian to retain the Impact World Championship. And the story here, though, was after the match. After the match, Alexander and Kazarian shake hands in a tremendous show of respect. Then Bully Ray confronts Alexander and praises him for his performance tonight. Bully calls Alexander the most incredible world champion in all of professional wrestling. Bully gets down to business and calls his shot for an Impact World title match on Friday, January 13th at Hard to Kill. Out of nowhere, Bully attacks Alexander at ringside with a steel chair. Bully zip ties him to the bottom rope and continues the assault. Bully grabs Alexander's wife and tosses her over the guardrail. Bully threatens to powerbomb her onto the concrete until Alexander hands him the Impact World title. Bully stands tall with the Impact title held high before exiting the Impact Zone. Overdrive goes off the air. Now, let me say this. They're in an era where Josh Alexander is the dominant champion, right? He's having a run of dominance that, I'm not going to say it rivals Roman Reigns's, but like he's been putting out some banger ass matches, and like he's clearly their guy and they're running with him. And I think that's great. You know what I mean? It's good to have like a signature talent. And we have not once seen Alexander, like manhandled this way. Like even against Moose, even against Moose, he wasn't like, manhandled this way. And so, Bully Ray is really good at, like selling the evil guy that he is, the evil of his character that comes through. But just watching this segment, man, one thing that just stuck with me was how I could hear nobody reacting to it. And it was killing me because I was like, this is great stuff that you guys are doing right here. But people are not reacting. And that's one thing I think Impact just has to find a way to breathe some life into the show, get a younger audience in there that wants to react, wants to stand up, wants to clap, still has the energy at the end of a 3-hour show to give you that kind of reaction for that kind of angle. They gotta find a way to euthanize this audience.
Euthanize. It's being euthanized.
That's a little Herschel Walkerism.
Yeah. When they the few times that they pan to the crowd, and I guess there was a pretty large crowd here, you would never know it. Number one, because as I said earlier, the video was such low quality that it drowned out a lot of the crowd, but it's just like the camera didn't show much, and when it did, it really showed a like older audience. I was actually quite shocked. So yeah, they do got to find a way to, how do we appeal to a younger fan base? And that's why I'm always like, yo, you bringing in the Dreamers and the Rhinos and the RVDs, like you're not appealing to the modern day wrestling fan. You're trying to bring people back who left a long time ago.
Yes.
That's kind of been what the strategy is, and I just don't think that's the way to go.
Yeah. So listen, I have to tap out. But BQ, why don't you stay here for the people and answer some questions, answer some comments that are in the chat? Does that sound good?
I can do that. I can
for the
do
homies.
That.
All right, listen, everybody. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Drop your comments down, below. Drop your comments in the chat. Follow me on Twitter at TW Talking About. Follow BQ. Tweet me, I tweet back. Let's keep this conversation going. And I'll talk to you guys soon. For BQ, I'm TW. BQ is gonna stay here, but I am saying peace.
Peace. All right, so yeah, I'll stick around here a little bit, knock out some of these questions here. I don't know exactly what you're asking here. We would like to see talent sign larger deals, and clearly they're very comfortable with their business method right now, or their business model, I should say, about bringing in what they consider to be bigger names on short-term deals. The problem is it's really hard to connect to the product when they do that. I mean, think of the last Impact Plus show where everyone was so excited that Bobby Fish showed up. Dude came in and wrestled 2 matches and bounced, like what was the point of even bringing him in as a surprise, so it's like now you see people on the show and it's hard to get excited because your initial assumption is that they're not going to be around for very long. Let's see what we got here. Sorry for the silence. Man, there was something I was gonna. Here we go. This was the one I was looking for. Why is Josh beating records that Impact homegrown talents and legends have? He shouldn't be doing that. That's embarrassing. I don't know if I agree with that. Because Josh kind of is a homegrown talent. We don't want Bobby Roode and AJ Styles to keep these records forever, because these aren't guys who have anything to do with the company anymore. You can get away with that with WWE, because once WWE, you're always WWE. You're like part of that family. Um, these guys can keep these records, but like with Impact being such a transitional company now. When I say transitional, I mean the talent is not around for very long. It kind of operates like an indie company. Um, I think the guys who are sticking around, like Josh Alexander, like I think he should be erasing those titles personally. Um, how would I book Alicia Edwards in Impact Wrestling? You would think, as much as I love Alicia, that I would know how to answer this question. Um, I thought the ball was dropped when they did not give her a feud with Sue Young at one point. And I don't remember when Sue Young took out one of the Swingerellas. That's what it was. That was a real opportunity for them to do something, and they chose not to. They go back to the crutch, like I was saying with Josh and his wife. They go back to the Alicia, you're Eddie's wife crutch. I would have put her in Honor No More. Honestly, I would have done that. And for all the people be like, oh well, she can't wrestle. Like, she's put in positions to be a jobber, and I would say she's had like 3 meaningful matches in her time with the company, and they were good. Like, if you look back at them, in the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament, the Monsters Ball match, the match with Eddie against Angelina Love and Davey Richards. Like, when the matches mean something, like she plays, she's does pretty well. Um, lots of comments have been coming in about Sue Young, and yeah, I want to see her back too. It's you know I don't know if she ever will be back. I mean, it's Swan's wife, so she's still connected to the company, and maybe she just is being a stay-at-home mom right now. Who knows? Maybe she's not in like wrestling shape. I don't know, but I would love to see her back. This was we were talking about earlier when Don Callis was around. Really brought in talents that just stood out. Whether it was Brian Cage, whether Sue Young, Joe Hendry's first run. Uh, there was a few people he brought in that just really stood out from the rest of the roster. So I would love to see Sue Young. Yeah, a lot of people saying this. I don't know what's going on. I think it would be a really good, um, if they brought her back, like let's just say during Mickey James rodeo, last rodeo, if she just randomly popped out as like the next opponent, I think people would like really get behind that. Um, what are your thoughts on Impact's excuse me, announcement of their new action figure deals? It's pretty good news, the best Impact news in a while. People have been asking about this for a while. They really have. So I hope that they don't drop the ball. And when I say drop the ball, I just mean I hope that they don't take so long to do it that no one cares anymore. Jordan Grace tweeted a mock-up of her action figure the other day. I like to see more of that. That's marketing, getting people excited. What they did was Josh Matthews said something about it, and then nothing was ever said again. That's very poor marketing. So I think that's awesome, because a lot of people are really interested in action figures, as collectibles. Um, I'm not personally, but a lot of people are. Um, Impact Wrestling needs to bring in Mariah May. They really do, man. This girl, if you are not familiar with her, she is hotter than a $2 pistol. Um, she really fits the what a knockout should be, and I think there's room for everything in the division, and I think they're due of like a real hot chick, in the division. So I think she would fit that role very, very well. Not to say the women there aren't attractive now, but you know what I mean. Just like coming in with those like model looks. Do I think Black Taurus ever get a run with the X Division title? I think if they decide because the decay thing is not as good as it was before. It's not even close. It's not even scratching the surface of what decay used to be. I like Taurus a lot personally. If they kind of are like, yo, we're gonna kind of pull the plug on the decay thing. We're gonna have Steve as more of a mouthpiece because Crazy Steve's a great talker. That would work, but you can't just have Black Taurus who I'm not even sure he actually speaks English like in real life. Um, you can't just put the belt on him. There's got to be someone speaking for him. I'm gonna buy all 4 figures when they get released. Hope the line won't get canceled like the previous one. I didn't know they were only talking about 4 so far. Um, I hope Mid Cardona leaves with Chelsea. He'd only bring Brian Myers down, just like when they were in WWE. I like Cardona personally. I like Myers more. They entertain me. So I just think there's more you can do with Cardona than what they are doing. Um, they're kind of making him. I don't know. Like he could be a badass heel, but he's just kind of doing the goofy heel shit. So okay, so 4 in the first line of action figures. Hopefully, it's something they like really, really get on, and stay consistent. And they've done good with the micro brawlers and the I guess decent with the trading cards, you know. So hopefully they're on it. I think their shop impact is there's a lot to be desired with that website because it's just t-shirts. And there's other things you can do um that don't cost a whole lot that people would buy, like I mean, what if they did shot glasses with pictures of the wrestlers on them? The cat's losing his mind behind me. I don't know what he's doing. If they put out shot glasses, I'm just like off the dome here, and you had a little Jordan Grace, uh, maybe like a cartoonish image, but something, you know what I mean? Like people would collect that. People like collecting things. They would collect the whole set. You know, I think there's so much they could do with 8x10s, calendars. Um, the idea I've always had with Shop Impact is take the main events. You can do it with all the matches if you want, but take the main event. Okay, we're running. We're selling the match graphic as an 8x10, signatures on each. We're only selling 100. They're $100 each. You know, shit like that. So I want to see them be more creative with merchandise. Do you think Impact would benefit from having Curtis Axel? I think he'd be good there, like the next EC3. WWE had hopes with him when they had him infused with Punk, Cena, and Triple H. I was watching WWE at the time. I didn't think that I didn't see much in him as far as getting him to that level. I know he was feuding with those guys, but I didn't think he was actually going to get there. That being said, I've always thought I think he works backstage for WWE. I could be wrong, but that being said, I actually thought he would always be a good fit for Impact if they brought him in. Um, I really did. I thought they were going to. I had an idea that they were. I mean, I had the assumption they were going to, but they did not. Moose, Eddie Edwards, Jordan Grace, and Deanna Perrazzo. Those are the action figures. Okay, that's a good way to start. Needs to bring back the knockouts calendar. I mean, seriously, is there a more no brainer piece of uh, item to put in the merch shop than a knockouts calendar? I mean, seriously, easy, 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 easy money. You take pictures of them anyway that they just post on Instagram. Yeah, I believe Curtis retired as an agent, and yeah, I was fairly certain he was an agent. I'm glad I have Big Con now. It was disgraceful having him lose in 5 seconds to Josh last time when he looked like a monster compared to Josh. That was embarrassing. I don't. I didn't really. I wasn't a big fan of that. They should bring in Victor too. Have him in the X Division. What the hell's Victor doing right now? Like, I wonder. I haven't seen him like do indie dates or anything like that. I think once or twice because they were called like the Awakening or something, the Ascension. Because I'm an old school um NXT fan. You know, I stopped liking NXT a long time ago, but the old school, I loved the Ascension back then. You know, and I still think that group when I see them. I was shocked Impact didn't bring them in as a tag team. Like absolutely fucking shocked. Who's going to be in the calendar? Jessica. It's going to be 12 months of Jessica. No, I mean the current division is not. It's not Christy Hemme and Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, like physically, they're not those women, but they have attractive women. Like they could. It's they're not calendar girls. I mean, obviously not, but they could make it work. Like if you remember, they did the Elements photo shoot a while back. This was several years ago when Jeff Jarrett was around and actually gave a shit about merchandise and trying to do creative things. But the Knockouts had like the Elements shoot, so there was like I want to say Rosemary, like she was dressed like sexy, you know, but I think she had like um fire maybe, or I think Ty Valkyrie maybe had fire. But you guys remember like it was different, like different elements or whatever. Stuff like that could, you know, work for a calendar, you know. Um let's see. I hated that with Khan. I wonder where's Victor. Is Fulton signed? Thought for sure he'd be part of the Sammy EY feud. Um I know he did AEW Dark recently. He just he's not in AEW. He just did a match on AEW Dark as a tag team. I think they took on the Dark Order. They just threw him in a random team with a couple of jabrones. It was like nothing. Um, Thoughts on tomorrow's Thanksgiving themed episode of Impact? I didn't even know what the hell they were doing for tomorrow. I clearly, I mean, I don't know why I said the word clearly. I routinely don't watch whatever they do on Thanksgiving. I always think it's like a very stupid show. I did watch the Wrestle House because I like the Wrestle House stuff, but the turkey suit, all that shit, I've always hated that shit. So that's why we're kind of reviewing Overdrive in the middle of the week. So it's going to kind of act as a podcast to hold you over because we're not going to review whatever the hell they're doing. Wish they'd hire Cody Hall. I knew some people. For those that you don't know, I'm in the Air Force. I was active duty for almost 15 years, and then I've been in the reserves for like 7. I knew people because Cody Hall and I did the same job on active duty, so I knew people that knew him. They said he was kind of a piece of shit. So I don't know. I'd never really seen the dude wrestle. I know his Wikipedia is like, you know, he got out of the Air Force to be a pro wrestler, but I was told, and I don't know how true it is, that he was actually kicked out. And it's almost you got to be a dumbass to get kicked out of the military. Impact should have never released Eli Drake. They should have respected his preference not to wrestle Tessa. What happened was they thought he was replaceable. That's what it comes down to. If you guys remember at the time, Impact was trying to like really put their foot down about stuff. This, you know, like the Broken Hardys. That was I don't know if Scott and Don. I think they were maybe just coming on. I know Anthem was on. That's when they were like trying to play hardball with wrestlers, and it didn't really work in their favor. I understand why they were trying to do it, but Eli Drake was not replaceable. He really stood out on that show. What do you think about Eli Drake, DJZ, and Desmond Xavier? Desmond Xavier doing good in WWE now, like good for them. You know, I rarely watch WWE. I'll get a pay per view every once in a while. I never thought Eli Drake was going to get to that level with them. So I mean, good for him. DJZ definitely. Desmond Xavier. You remember back when he first joined Impact, and he would go like 6, 7 episodes without appearing on screen, and people were like, "Yo, we want to see him." You know, we've been seeing his talent for a long time. Jarrett was still in Anthem's ear. Yeah, I think Jarrett was kind of yeah, he was part of that when they were like playing hardball with people. Um, yeah, I agree. Eli Drake would have left for WWE eventually anyway. he always acted like he wasn't going to. Like Cross was the same way. Cross was like, "Oh, I don't think they would push me the way I need to be pushed." Like the dude went there twice. They fired him once, and he still went back. Desmond Xavier is a phenomenal talent. I'm glad to see NXT season now. Yeah, he really is. That's another Air Force dude. Did the same job as me, except he wasn't kicked out like oh boy. See, we'll do this for about 5 more minutes. See if there's anything here. WWE clearly sees Eli big because they got him. So yeah, I saw someone say that earlier. He's gonna feud with Bray Wyatt. Like that's actually really interesting. I saw the clip on social media where Maxine called him Max, and he's like, "Don't call me that anymore," and went right back to the L.A. Knight. Like he Triple H actually obviously got him his old gimmick back, and good for him. I hope that people see what we saw in him. I went to that Impact versus Lucha Underground show, which I wish I didn't go to. But the guy behind me, what Eli Drake was wrestling, he was just like, "Oh my god, this guy sucks!" Like they actually put the title on this guy. This was their champion. There's always that someone was in TNA, someone was in Impact, so WWE fans talk shit about them, and then they show up on their TV and they're like, "Oh my god, this guy's freaking amazing." What wrestlers would you bring into Impact? Most of the people that I would bring in at this point are knockouts, to be honest. Like Mariah May, like I said earlier, Alexia Nicole. What was the girl AEW got that I was saying it before she went there? Oh my god, why is her name escaping me? Gray, from the Baddies. Oh my god, the one I always say hottest chick in pro wrestling. What the hell's her name? I know someone's gonna say something. Not Penelope Ford. She's fine as shit too. The black girl on the Baddies with Jay Cargill and Kira Hogan. Not Anna Jay. No, someone's gonna say here. Not Red Velvet. Not Big Swole. She's I know she's a black chick. It's something gray. I know someone knows what I'm talking about here. Layla Gray, Trent Hatchett, shout out. I don't know why I couldn't remember her name. That was someone I really, really was like, yo, bring her in, But AEW got to her, but that's someone who I think is really good. But I just think, yes, Layla Gray, she's black, absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I think that the X division, the knockouts division is really where I would beef it up, because I think that's the one place they can remain competitive, and because they still provide such a good home for women's wrestling. It's hard to find tag teams. It's hard to find main eventers, and I know there's people holding out for getting into the Ring of Honor thing, so they're going to have a hard time signing a lot of the main event dudes. I wish Impact would grab some MLW guys like Hammerstone and Fatu. You know what I mean? If something ever happens to MLW, there's MLW has some dudes that Impact could basically snatch up, which would really beef up what they do in the main event. NWA does not have that. They don't have that, but MLW's got a couple dudes because they're good at MLW is very good at developing their own talent. As I said earlier in the show, like starting them from the bottom and elevating them. Like they're good with that. Big Swole and Tasha Steeles is the same mediocre gimmick. Big Swole's another fellow airman, so I wouldn't mind seeing her around. I got a different connection with Swole though, because I know she has Crohn's disease, and my ex that's with for a while, the one I was with when I first started this podcast, she has Crohn's disease, so that's a kind of a big part of my life. You know what I mean? So Deanna's contract is set to expire. I wouldn't be surprised if she was gone. I want them to get closer with OVW, bring guys up. Um, yeah, I think so too. They got a girl I really like in OVW, Holly Hood. The hell's her first? Man, I don't know why I'm forgetting people's names. Um, Nick Aldis. I really think they need Nick Aldis. I think they absolutely need to bring him in because he can come in the main event immediately, and probably could do something very good with Josh. Honestly, so I don't think he's on the other company's radars. So I think that would be really interesting. I think that they should definitely bring him in. I think Triple H definitely watch Impact with how he's having Samuel Shaw doing the same thing, Killer Cross too. Yeah, but they also probably talk to him and say, "Hey, this is what we did over there." NWA has Audison. I want him in Impact Wrestling. I know he's in the group with the End, the tag team, but I haven't seen his partner in a while, so I don't know if that's still a thing. But yeah, he's that dude's built like a brick shit house. He looks like $1,000,000. He can definitely work. The majority of that roster is you know, barnyard wrestling type of dudes now. But yeah, I guess they got a couple people. Um, I really liked OVE as a tag team. Unfortunate about Dave Christ. If you guys remember, I was a huge Dave Christ guy. So I was really disappointed with what happened with him. And I was actually just thinking today. Obviously, Joey Ryan was fired, but what he was doing with the company with his new gimmick at the time, and had the other Chris brother with him, uh, you know, that was interesting. They had RVD and stuff like that. That was interesting. We just never got to see um, what the hell they were going to do with it. But yeah, it would. Jay Chris should absolutely still be around. That's just crazy. That's crazy that. But I don't think it ended on good terms with his wife when she was with the company. So I don't think he's going to come back. And that's what I was told from someone within Impact. Um, because you remember when she was let go, she was actually like released from her contract. So something happened with her. So I don't think that Jake would come back. Man, I think there was something else I was going to talk about here. Oh, when I was talking about the OB, yeah, that's that Don Callis era, though. That I was talking about OBE. Um, that whole Me Too movement really hurt Impact. I mean, what these guys did hurt themselves, but I just mean because that was a thing, and they lost Joey Ryan and Dave Christ and Michael Elgin. Like they were, you know, respectively big parts of the show in their own right. Dion is advertised for Impact on the shows for Florida, so that's a good sign. Yeah, I have a feeling. I know this is not Deanna, but Mickey. I have a feeling whatever she's doing with Deanna, and then whatever she does after, I think she's gonna still kind of like hang around in Impact. She's not gonna go to NWA. And I mean backstage, like working with Gail Kim. OVE had bangers with LAX. Like OVE had an opportunity to really be on that LAX level, and they just didn't get him there. They beat him way too much. Um, they took multiple L's to Tessa Blanchard. Look at what garbage Morrissey's doing AEW now. He should have just stayed. Same with Tennille. Uh, Impact should have paid Morrissey. You know, um, he was one of the better parts of the show. And then Tennille was. I always thought she was one of the better parts of the show, but I mean, I knew there wasn't much left for her to do. I liked the influence, and that was a lot of fun. Um, should have given that cancel culture gimmick with Heath. Yeah, that was the name of Joey Ryan's group. I just would have just been really, really interesting. How could I look at Tennille, make her face? She's supposed to be a heel. It's like in her blood. She's a much better heel. Even when Impact brought her in as a baby face, it was an absolute nightmare. I know they're calling her Emma again. Just ridiculous. Impact is a small stage, so it's easy to be top card, just like Kiera Hogan. Uh, no, I'd like to see Zach Wetz come back. Absolutely. And I think he will. I really do. I think it's just a matter of time. Um, I think he'll be back. I'd actually would have preferred Havoc and Nevea. I'm not huge on the Death Dolls. I think the Death Dolls. I don't know. There's just something, I guess, because it's kind of different than what else is on the show. I like that they have a good entrance and a good freaking song. Also, how many times has Madison retire and left Impact? I think she's going to be back eventually. She always seems to come back. Yo, her matches in AEW are horrible, horrible. I don't know if she just knew how to work the Impact style in a smaller ring or what. Her matches stink. They're some of the worst. She had a match with Ty Mello about a month ago, and I love Ty Mello. That's like one of my favorites over there. That match was so bad. And then they did a tag team match. I think it was her and Sky Blue. I don't remember who they went up against. One of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. Um, and Madison also just it's the same, pillow forearm, or no, it's how she throws like that. Just it's like a pillow hitting you. It's Step Up in Seguri, the Northern Lights. It's just all the same shit with her matches, but she's showing me that she's actually not good. I guess Impact really found a way to cover that up, but she's not good. Um, I want to see Kimberly back. I liked what Kimberly was doing, to be honest with you. I liked her music a lot too. What's Santana's contract status? His contract status is future NXT superstar. What do you think about Kimberly? Been saying she's still signed. She probably still is signed, but it's a um per appearance deal, so she's not getting paid. Like you know, they seem to lock down the wrestlers that no one's really trying to sign. They'll sign them to like a 3-year deal. You know, paying them $400 a month. She probably is under contract. The Bay needs to come back again. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't believe that she left on good terms, so I don't think that's going to happen. Kiera Hogan was a tag champ in Impact. AEW, she's a baddie. When you got a small roster, you use what you got. AEW is very deep. I like what Kiera is doing as a baddie. I just like the little group. So I don't think they're going to put Kimber on TV until Wentz stuff is cleared. I think we'll see Wentz on Impact Television before we see Kimberly. Madison's getting old now. I've told this story once or twice. Lots of Air Force stories today with wrestlers, but her first husband um, was in the Air Force. He might still be. I don't know. He worked with my wife at the time. This is my wife that passed away years ago. And I know she worked with Madison's husband. I never. No, I don't know. I feel like she introduced me briefly. I don't remember. But yeah, let's see. Ty Conti can't wrestle. I like her as a valet. Madison needs to stay in WW, stay in AEW. She's overpushed garbage. AEW's exposing her. She's being exposed. I will say that, and I like her. I am a fan, but she's not good. Kiera Hogan got kicked out of the baddies. Oh, are you serious? That's stupid. I really like the baddies. I like her and Layla, and I was hoping they were going to bring Red Velvet back, um, and have them all. So I don't know why they would kick her out. That freaking sucks. AEW needs to stop booking Madison on every rampage. She's not that good. Lots of Madison Rain stuff. So I'm gonna answer one or two more things here, and then I'm going to go to sleep so that I can be up in the morning to do the turkey. Why they release Caleb Conley? He could have been the next Miz or Robbie E of Impact. Hopefully not Robbie E. I hate that dude. He was a good cowardly heel. Yeah, that was a really weird. I don't know why they released him. He was doing good things with the Influence. I mean, they had this storyline with the Influence and Inspiration going on forever just to release Caleb. What did they do with Masha after she lost again? I don't know. I'm really interested to see. I mean, who else can she beat? I think they were fine just keeping her off TV for a bit until they found something for her. I would have rather her come in and attack Mickey James, not to do this. This was just like, I believe Masha and Jordan had like a PWG match that got a lot of love. So I think they were like, "Oh, let's put them back in the ring together on Impact." It'll get people to sign up for the Insider, even though we don't tell them how to sign up for the Insider. So I don't know. I would imagine they're gonna pair her up with Killer Kelly. I was gonna say Kelly. That would be something with Killer Kelly. But I don't think that's a smart idea because neither of them need to be losing. Um, I'm laughing at all these Madison Rain comments. Thank God we don't have her on commentary anymore. One of the worst experiences ever, wrestling ever. I didn't mind her the second run on commentary. It was the first one where she only did the knockouts matches, but she was added nothing. She was very bad. But if once you hear Velvet Sky on commentary once, you're never going to think anyone else sounds bad ever again. Mia Yim didn't fit in with this new management. She wasn't Jade anymore. I thought she fit in really well. I would have paid her. I really would have. So no, Mia Yim, they changed her name, but because of internet backlash, they changed her name back to Mia Yim. Yeah, it is funny though. Who's next for Josh after Bully? Bully might beat him. Him and Bully might feud for the majority of 2023. I think Josh's next match though is Rich Swann. They've been talking about that for a while. They just haven't like pushed it really hard on TV, but I think he's going to get Rich Swann here soon, which again is unnecessary because you're just feeding him everyone. I think Josh is going to lose though, personally. Gail Kim versus Mickey James one last time. Dude, if that's the way that the direction this went, that would be freaking incredible. I don't think that's what it's going to be. I don't think Gail wants to wrestle. Ugh. I don't understand why commentary kept saying Finn Juice's theme song was the best one. That song freaking sucks. Most of the Impact songs suck. Let's just be real. They have a few very good ones, but a lot of them are not good. You were right. Years later, the Good Brothers were waiting to leave. Apparently, they were in talks as soon as they left WWE while they were at Impact. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised. I really hope Impact learned their lesson with that. To just bring in someone in and say, hey, we're going to give you free reign to do whatever you want. I said this a few months ago. The early days of TNA was special because people were coming in and they wanted to be a part of something. They wanted to build something. Now people are coming in as a booking, as a place to work, as a place to pay them for a little bit. They're not like, hey, we want to like. That was what the magic of AEW was at first. Like, hey, we're gonna come in and do something special here. We're gonna build something. And people are not coming in at Impact right now. Hey, we're gonna build something. We're gonna build the next popular show. Like, that's just not how it is. What will Impact Wrestling do with Taylor Wilde? You can send her over to hang out with me. No, I love Taylor Wilde, man. I don't know. I think I don't know. She's never really had that Deonna Purrazzo match that they were teasing for a while. I like her podcast though. Velvet Sky is horrible on commentary. Commentary on NWA is horrible. It really is. The NWA is bad. It's very, very bad. And it sucks because I used to love that show. They had the North bury the tag team division. Then they had the Good Brothers do that. Now the tag division's in shambles. That's exactly what happened, man. Like they bury the divisions, the people they have as the champions. They're not like strong champions. Like, oh, they're just beating all these challengers. Like The North, I wouldn't say that so much, but the Good Brothers, they ruined the tag team division for the sake of those guys. And they're starting to get it back together a little bit, but it was absolutely freaking ruined because of them. Aren't many challengers were left for Jordan. She's defeated everybody. I don't know. Jordan could be champion for a very, very long time, but that's why I'm saying they got to just continue to beef up the knockouts division, because that's where there's a lot of good talent out there unsigned. There's not a lot of male talent out there unsigned that you could come in and like really be your next big star. Chris Harris has been talking about wanting to work with Impact backstage, the management role, so we don't have Scott taking off the headset every time he's on screen. That isn't that annoying. I think he's like trying to pop himself. I think that's like a gimmick where, oh, the headset's coming off. The Scott part of Impact is so annoying because it's like someone's walking in the hall, they bump into Scott. And then 2 minutes later, they go knock on the door. He's behind the door. And then the next person is doing an interview, and there's Scott at the interview. Like he's around the entire freaking arena. It's just weird. They should have saved Masha versus Grace until next pay-per-view. I totally agree. Grace is on steroids. If you watch the interview a year ago and now her voice is totally different. I don't want to comment on that. I don't know. Her voice is different though. Their main event scene needs help and has for years. How long is it going to remain an issue until 2037? Yep. Till December 31st of 2037. Yes. It's going to be an issue. And the thing is they're trying to do the quick fix of, hey, we're going to sign these guys that were released by WWE 6 years ago. They could come in and do main event matches. They can have matches with Josh. And it goes back to what I said a little bit earlier. Like when you take a sports franchise, they're drafting players to develop them as the next big thing, and that's not Impact is not doing that. You know, like Rohit Raju should be in the main event scene, not released. You know what I mean? They should pair Dirty Dango with Joe Henry. I'm a power lifter. I can tell when someone's on the juice. Grace is also a state record holder for 2 deadlift records. It's common for athletes to use the roids. I can tell when someone's on the juice. I'll believe you on that one. Sounds like that's a field you know. Then I will trust you. I don't know what they expected this digital media championship to be. They expected to be a belt that they defended on Twitter specific matches, YouTube specific matches, like when they were doing this digital exclusive match. Now they're just throwing garbage on there, but you know, I thought they were going to defend the title there, defend it on Twitter. I think they said Facebook matches. There's a lot they could have done. You know, they could have really leveraged Instagram to build angles. You know, like there was, if you had like a real genius in there with marketing, man, they really could have done some like special things with that title that no one else was doing. But instead it's just a joke title. So, yeah, I think we're gonna leave it there for me tonight, guys. So, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna hit end broadcast. I got to get take care of some things for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So, I hope everyone has a good good holiday. You guys continue to talk in the chat if you'd like. But I am out this piece. I'm your boy BQ. I will talk to you guys soon. I'm out.